Okay, well, hello everyone, and welcome to Get a Grip with Coach Helix. I'm your host, Coach Helix, and with me, my amazing co host,
Stephen Frederick is here.
Steven the Medium, is in the house. And yes, our son didn't play, but we are ready to rock and roll. We took a few weeks off for the holidays, did a little travel, holiday celebration, respite, and we are back ready to rock and roll. So, with that said, Steven, how are you?
I'm excellent. I'm
You
excited to be back and excited to, be here, be on WARA and chat.
Me too. I'm super excited. Excited to be back. I actually missed being here, but we were in Puerto Rico. We took time off for the holidays, and then we went to Puerto Rico, and we had an amazing time. So, Stephen, what were the highlights for you?
In Puerto Rico?
Well, and the time that we took, because I mean, we did some fun stuff with our friends, John and Krista, and their daughter who was here traveling from California. Um, but yeah, like what were the highlights for you?
You know what, Felix? Just taking the garbage out sometimes can be a highlight, when you're in the
Okay.
present and you're in the moment. But above and beyond that, there was just the holidays were terrific. There was so many highlights, like you just said. I mean, going to dinner, and I mean, certainly going to Puerto Rico was incredible because Puerto Rico is like my second home. After 32 years of going to Puerto Rico, many times, several times a year, it's my second home. I know the island like I know here, and then you add your family that's all there, and we get to see them and the food and the playa, the beaches. So it was wonderful. And I mean, going to El Junque, the rainforest, was definitely a highlight this time because we haven't been. We went to the El Junque, the rainforest.
When
By the
when
way,
we
it's the
first met, right?
yeah. I was going to say
Yeah.
it's the only rainforest the U.S. has clearly, and it had been so long, and I just really wanted to go back. So. But I'm sure you have a story you want to share
I have plenty of stories I wanted to
of
share.
El Junque, I mean, in the path.
Yeah,
And
but
yeah,
first and foremost, you said obviously, but that's not really obvious for many people. A lot of people do not know that the only rainforest in the U.S. is in Puerto Rico. So I don't think that's a well-known fact for many people. People make assumptions, and so if you want to go to a rainforest, that is your closest ticket to go to an amazing, amazing rainforest. And yes, I do have stories because, of course, we go to the visitor center, which is what they recommend you do, and we take a picture. We met with one of the guides. She just said take a picture, and then she gave me some very specific places stops to make, and I put them on my phone, and I was following. Everything was working well, and then of course Stephen Masek, who doesn't follow any rules whatsoever, decides that the one trail he wants to do is the one that is not on our map. It wasn't even on our map, and it was certainly not listed as one of the options that she gave us. And me, as the fool that I am, I just go along with Steven. And up we went on a trail, and he goes, "Oh my God!" There were moments because I mean, you don't have a cell signal once you go deep into the rainforest, and there were moments I'm like, "Oh dear God, I hope we find our way back." And then it started raining in the rainforest. That
started
alone,
pouring.
pouring. I mean, that alone, people, it is an experience of a lifetime. Like we were deep in the rainforest. Uh, because we were deep in the rainforest, we had a lot of coverage. So we didn't get soaked because there were places we found like a little, or you found a little cave and a lot of bushes, that would help us stay somewhat dry. I mean, we still got wet, but that was honestly, Stephen, that was spectacular.
Well, just
And
for some clarification, I didn't just randomly just like move a palm tree and walk through and made a path. There was a sign for a path. It just so happens that for some reason it wasn't on the map, but there was a sign saying this
yeah,
is whatever trail, and that's what we did. And we saw nobody. Like,
exactly. Well, for whatever reason, it's not on the map, and we saw nobody. I mean, that alone tells you everything you need to know.
But you know what? Standing there and it starts pouring, and you're just we did find cover, so it's like you couldn't go really anywhere unless you were going to get soaked. And standing there and just listening to that rain and watching, like watching the puddles, and I mean everything is wet anyway because it rains every day in the rainforest. Clearly, that was the coolest thing. And you see these little ponds and little miniature streams forming, but you could feel the energy of the rainforest and all the environment that is not anywhere else except a rainforest. It was pretty spectacular. It really was.
It was fabulous. I loved it, and I'm really, really happy. We spent like 4 hours in the rainforest, and it was worth spent, and I loved every minute of it. And of course, we were there for Three Kings Day, so we got to go to Old San Juan. There's still in Puerto Rico. There's one thing about Puerto Rico is the holiday celebrations. They don't stop after January 1st. They just keep going, and of course, they celebrate Three Kings, which is January 6th. So they were in full mode holiday party, and I love that. I love
They're
that.
still in full mode for the rest of January.
It's true.
Seriously.
Yeah. So, and they're now celebrating this weekend, I believe, is the La Fiesta de San Sebastián, which is the Sanse street party in Old San Juan, which is a very, very popular, famous street festival that happens right after New Year's. And they hold on to holiday music and celebrations at the Sanse party. So anyway, so that was really awesome. And I really loved, Stephen, spending time with my aunts and having dinner with them. And we went to the town where my mom lived and I grew up in Puerto Rico, in Ponce. And we got to spend time with my other aunt, Titi Melba. And that was awesome. So to me, those moments are priceless. You cannot put value to things like that. And and you and I, of course, we needed the time. We needed the respite. What were you going to say?
Well, we also stopped at the San Agustin Bakery, which we do all the time in Ponce,
Yes.
because they have pan dulce, the sweet bread, which it's bread that I've never. It's my favorite bread. I'm a bread guy anyway, but it's my favorite bread. So the bread comes in loaves, but 2 loaves per package, and it's usually warm because they're making it. It's just the best. So Elix's cousin, Eva Milagros, is with us. And she's in the back seat, and we go in and we get the bread, and we also get some pastries because this bakery is just so good.
And I also bought I don't know how many loaves to bring home because we wanted to bring some for our friend John and his mom. I'll tell you about that.
Are you done?
You
you just completely interrupted my story.
No. Go ahead. Go. I know where you're going.
See what I have to go through. See, seriously. See.
And then she looked at you.
Yeah. So we went from the bakery to Elix's aunt's house, which is like 10 minutes. And I crinkled up a bag, and she looked at me from the back seat like, weren't there 2 loaves in that bag? No, I mean, these loaves are big loaves. They're not huge in fat, but they're big loaves. And I'm like, yeah, I ate them. She looked at me. You just ate 2 loaves of bread? I'm like, yeah, 2 loaves. Gone.
Yeah. And you
gone in my tummy.
In fairness to you, it is hard to resist because that bread is sweet it is like you said, they sell out so much of it that it's always warm, and it's just, I mean, you can't stop eating. So
If
yeah,
you're
I
a bread
was.
person, forget about it.
That's
Just
the
saying.
one. Yeah,
Yes,
watch out for your waistline, because it's not very helpful
yeah.
to
You may have to go to Gloria Stevens figure salon.
but anyway, so I wanted to bring bread, but I'm thinking there's no way we're gonna put that bread in luggage, and it's just a pain. So I figure, well, let's go to the post office, and we were in the center of town, so the post office was nearby. And I go in. Stephen and my cousin stayed in the car, and I go in, and I cannot believe it literally cost me $150 to ship that bread, so that it could get here the following day, because of course it's still bread, and I wanted to make sure it got here, and the person staying at the house put it in the refrigerator. But that's a whole lot of money. So we really, that tells you that we really really like that bread a
It
lot.
was incredible.
Incredible.
Yes,
And Stephen, the
yes.
other thing before we go on to a break, I wanted just to acknowledge is our friend John, John and Krista, they were planning to come to Puerto Rico with us, and sadly, the day that we were leaving to Puerto Rico, his cousin brother, like, because they were very very close, took a turn for the worse. He had pancreatic cancer, and he passed away January 7th, I believe. It was. So I just want to make sure we, you know, tell John, send him our deepest sympathies, and just let him know, and the entire family, that of course we thinking of them and keeping them in our thoughts and prayers.
Yes, absolutely.
So, with that said, I think it's about time we need to take a break today. We are going to talk about something really awesome. Leave it now, while your future already exists. So, when we come back, we are going to talk about the new year energy, being grounded, soulful, and just asking ourselves the question, what if the life that we're planning, that we're hoping for, that we're praying for and preparing for already is here, already exists? We already have that. Think about that. We're going to take a small break, and we'll be right back. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elex. I'm your host, Coach Elex, and with me, my amazing co-host,
Stephen the Medium.
Stephen the Medium, who is also my husband and also an attorney. And we are happy to be back after a few weeks of holiday vacations and a trip to Puerto Rico. And with that in mind, we always, just about every year, do a show on New Year's resolution. But this year, we're changing it up a little bit because Stephen has a concept that I found really fascinating. So we're calling today's show Live It Now, Why Your Future Already Exists. You know, and the idea behind that is that every January we are told the same story. January 1st, new year, new goals, new habits, new you, right? But today we want to offer you a very different idea. What if transformation does not follow a calendar? What if you do not need January 1st or a perfect moment to begin again? What if the real change happens the moment that you decide to live as the person that you are becoming, or as I would say, the person that you are? See, the thing is that so many of us treat our dreams and our desires as something for someday, somehow, but not quite right now. You know, something that we hope for, something that might happen, and, you know, that might happen even if everything lines up just right. Might or may not happen. So what if your future is not waiting for you to arrive? What if that future already exists and is waiting for you to believe in it? And why this conversation became a conversation I wanted to bring to the radio is because Stephen talked to me about that. And, I operate that way, but this is the first time that I really started paying attention to the idea that, what if what we really want, what we envision, it's not as necessarily as something in the future, but as something that exists right here, right now. So, Stephen, guide me again and guide our listeners through with your thoughts, where that frame of mind comes from for you.
Well, I teach a lot of classes under the mediumship or spirit umbrella. And one of the things I started getting into, and as a matter of fact, I have a course that I'll be teaching soon we're going to get into this a little bit more specifically in details, is over, I don't know, many readings, and again, with teaching this course, I've had people say to me, how come I keep manifesting, or, I have these goals and dreams or what I want, and I am, I'm doing a vision board, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but it's not happening. Like, I keep doing it, but it's not moving forward. So that sort of prompted me to start thinking about doing a course on this. And I think, I love the fact that people even understand manifesting and do what they do. But unfortunately, most people do it incorrectly. So most people, like, even their language will be like almost when I get, I don't know, a particular amount of money, I'll be happy. Or if I get, when I find love, my life will be complete. Or if when I get that job I want, everything's going to change. It's all that verbiage, or the way people are speaking about getting what they want, and by using that verbiage, it's actually pushing what they want away. So it's like each time you take a couple of steps forward, but your dream is also taking a couple of steps forward. So it's like something that's ahead of you, and regardless of how fast you go, it goes the same speed. How slow you go, it goes the same speed. You're never catching it, and what you're really doing is you're pushing it away from you. Because you probably maybe have heard this, like the verbiage is telling the universe that when I do find love, what you're really saying is. Don't bring me love right now, because it's the current place where I'm at is where I want to sit, and I don't want love yet, because what I'm saying to the universe is when I find it. And,
Yes.
and the universe is very specific. So your universe, so the universe follows what you're saying, and what you're thinking, and especially the verbiage, and even what's in sort of in your mind, right?
Yes.
And I say to people that if your desire sort of lives in the future, then it's never going to enter the now. So everything, all those examples I just used, really what you're doing is you're putting what you want, what you love, what you can't wait to get in the future. So that means it's blocked. It can't get to the now. And that's when you want it, right? You want it now.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. You know what I heard loud and clear, language creates our reality. So I
Sure.
think like what you're saying is we gotta pay close attention to our language. And sometimes we default to language that we've been conditioned to just speak because it's natural, right? How many times do we say, I'm gonna try to lose weight? What I heard you say, Stephen, is that when you say I'm gonna try, what you're really saying is I'm not quite sure I can lose weight, or I don't think losing weight is possible, right?
Yeah, keep me here. Keep me at this weight. That's what really what you're
Exactly.
saying. But is that your intention? Of course not. I mean, your intention is I want to lose weight.
Yeah, and also the other one that you and I hear it all the time, and lucky for you and I, we correct each other. But it's I hope to, I hope I'm gonna get a better job this year. I hope I'm gonna get that promotion. I hope I'm gonna make more money. And what is that really saying, Stephen?
It's saying that that's exactly where I want to sit. This is the hoping means I want to stay in the hoping. So it's never the analogy I just used is it's always in front of me, no matter how fast I'm trying to run to get it. That dream is also running as fast ahead of me. It's you're never gonna get it. And Elix, I have a statement here that I pulled out that's part of my course coming up, and it says consciousness creates from what you are now. And remember, your consciousness, your subconscious, all of that is so important to life and so important to what's going on right now. So if consciousness creates from what you are now, if you are in a state of not having, your consciousness creates more not having.
Not having, yes.
Yeah, that's what happens. And you know what? People either fall on two ends of this. Either it is too easy, like what I'm saying is too easy, so it's not, because that doesn't work. It's too easy. It's not going to work. And people don't do it, or they're doing it wrong. They get it and they believe it, but they're not doing it correctly, because they're doing everything we've just spoke about or talked about since we started this conversation. Everyone's doing the same thing, and listen, and there's a lot of us that do it. It's prior to me becoming a medium and talking to dead people all the time, I was doing the same thing. When I get there, blah, blah, blah. And
Yes.
It's just, I didn't realize I was doing it. And I was just like, okay, well then that's exactly where I'm going to stick. I'm going to stay in the running. It's like the running man, right? I just keep running and running and running, and I'm going nowhere.
But in fairness to the world, right? We have January 1st, as an example, is a celebration that globally it's looked at. It's a new beginning, right? January 1st is when everyone talks about, this coming year I'm going to, right? And by the way, when you say I'm going to, it's also the same as I'm going to try, I hope for, because it's speaking it in a way that you don't have it. So therefore, the universe is hearing you don't have it. So we're going to give you more of that. But that the evidence to me, Stephen, that that conversation doesn't work is look at New Year's resolutions. It is, this is database. It's research, founded that New Year's resolutions by the end of January, most or over half of the New Year's resolutions that we have intended go down the wayside because, people, they go into I'm going to do this or I'm hoping for this, and then they don't get what they want and they forget about it or they don't feel it's gonna work, so they just stop doing it
But
altogether.
you know what the worst part of that
Mm-hmm.
that I realized is the feeling of being defeated.
Yes.
I think most of everybody that uses this crazy January 1st thing just ultimately, and I not everyone, but most people, as you just mentioned, statistically, end up feeling like they failed. They're defeated. And then it just, everything that they thought about just goes by the wayside. And the fact of the matter is, and I've said this before on this show, on my show, just about the expression "forward from here" I use all the time because it's crazy to think it's going to be January 1st. It doesn't matter what day it is of the year. It does not matter. Any point you just stop and say forward from here. You
Yes.
reset and you recharge and you move forward with what you want and whatever the goal is.
Yeah.
I was never a big proponent of January 1st and the new year and like those resolutions and those goals. I just thought it was crazy. It was just
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like, why can't I do this December 1st? Why can't I do this June 30th? Like, you can do it any day.
Well, and that's the point of today's show.
Right.
We are telling you, yes, you can. And we're going to talk more about it. But first, Stephen, we need to take a commercial break. So let's do that. And when we come back, we are going to continue the conversation and we're going to go into living from the future that you want right now. We'll be right back. And hello, everyone. Welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Helix. I'm your host, Coach Helix, and with me, my amazing co-host,
Attorney Masick.
Stephen the Medium, also my husband. We're happy to be back after a couple of weeks of holiday time off. And today we have an amazing conversation that is very fitting because every single year, come January 1st, everyone is talking about New Year's resolutions. And Stephen and I are going to give you a brand new way to relate to creating your future, not as a future, but as something that already exists right now. And Stephen, before we go on with the show, let's do a shout out to our previous producer, Mark Clark, who is, I say previous because he's, taking some time off to recover. But he's in New York City and he is listening through our online chat portal, yes. And so I wanted to say hello, Mark. Hi, we miss you, Mark.
We miss you, Mark.
And we hope that you are getting better and healthy so that we can have you back really, really, really soon. He's coming back from NYC Sunday, and so we are wishing you nothing but the best. Also, Carla Garcia from the live stream just made a comment, and she says, listening to the show is living for today. And that's exactly what this conversation is about. It's about living now, not waiting for a future that already exists. So, Carla, you're right on point, and I'm glad that you're listening. It's really the first time that I noticed your name on the live stream. So welcome to Get a Grip with Coach Helix. That said, Stephen, I wanted to ask you, can you share with our listeners your, what you've shared with me? It's like a metaphor, I guess, for the lack of a better word. But when you talk to me about how we relate to yesterday and how we don't question that yesterday happened, but yet, when we relate about tomorrow, our brain operates in a very different way. So, can you share with our audience what that is, what you mean by that, and how is that really directly related to today's conversation?
Sure. So we've just sort of broken down everything that people are not doing correctly when you're manifesting and trying to get to your dreams, whatever they are, your goals. So then you ask, okay, then what is the correct way? And, I have found a way that sort of collapses the time between like your desire and the manifestation, because that really is mostly people can manifest, but the problem is getting there, right? Like solidifying the manifestation. So what I've sort of titled this is astral projecting or teleporting into your future. So in other words, if I said to anybody, I have a way to bring the future, your future, meaning your goals and what you want, into the present. And the way you do that is through the past. You look at me like, what? It's like a riddle, right? It doesn't make any sense. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So to try to trick your mind that something that you want is already a past event. It's like, I guess we have to start with, and you brought this up, Elix. If you were to think about yesterday, like if you just think for a moment and think, what did I do yesterday? And just go through, a couple of things or the full day or so. And I said to you, does that feel like there's a possibility it didn't happen? Or does it feel like it's an absolute fact? And everybody most likely would say, no, I mean, it happened, right? It's an absolute fact. It's done. I don't doubt it. It happened. It happened and it's done. So when you get that sort of concept about the past, and that's something that's already done, you want to use that same concept for your goals and your desires and somehow make them the past. And so just go with me here. So what that really means is teleporting into the future is that you want to like pick a goal. Like as I'm talking and as you're listening, pick a goal, whether it's you want a brand new house, you want the love of your life, you want more money, whatever it is. And you think about moving 6 months after you get that goal. So let's pick the goal of you want a house. You finally want to buy a house or a particular house or whatever the case may be, but it's about a house. So you want to teleporting into the future means you want to get into the future of not I want the house. How am I going to get the house? But you want to get it to be in the past. So if you teleport into the future, you have to teleport far into the future, meaning 6 months to a year of getting the house. So you're already past, getting it. You're living in it. So just think about this house that you want and that you're walking around in, and it's all settled. It's your normal life now. Every night you're putting the lights on, like you're living there, you're cutting the grass. It is there. You're living it. You're there. But then you need to start counting sort of backwards from that point. So now you have to start going to the first second I got the keys to the house. And then, the second I got to call my mom and dad or friends or whomever, so excited, like we got the house. And then you go to the closing and you just start going backwards from you sitting in that house and you have the house and start going backwards, because what that's doing is it's creating all of those things I just mentioned. It's now creating them in the past, like they've already happened. So you want to get those feelings, the same exact feeling of what I just asked you about yesterday, about the past. That is an absolute fact, right? That's where you want to go. So what you're doing is you're not making the past from the present, you're making a past from the future and sort of backing up. So what that's really tricking your mind, because your mind can't figure out whether it's all about making memories, right? Your mind can't figure out, is this a memory that actually happened in like linear time, like now, like it happened, or is this a memory that you've created via your imagination, which we're doing, right? It's the latter, right? We're creating this via our imagination. Our minds and our consciousness, that they can't figure out whether the same to your mind or to like your consciousness. So if you can sort of go backwards and stop making everything that you want as a desire as a past experience, then inevitably your physical energy is going to need to catch up to you're already in that house, meaning that it's going to start putting opportunities in front of you about getting to that house without you even knowing it. That's really what I'm talking about.
And it makes perfect sense, Stephen. Actually, a lot of what you said is actually backed by neuroscience, is backed by research. In fact, athletes, they train in that exact way, because when you say that our brain does not know the difference between, imagining something, envisioning something, and reality, it does not. So that's how athletes actually train to win. They envision themselves already winning the race. And in that is what then puts them in that place where they're not competing, they're not hoping to win. They've already won. And that translates into extraordinary performances. And I personally think that, as well trained as I am, I sort of like default to what those mechanisms that we've learned and we've adopted, and and it's very easy for all of us to think about hoping to, or trying to do something, instead of realizing that no, whatever that is, it's already exists, it's already here. And the
But
more, go ahead, Stephen. Yeah.
no, I was going to say, but the difference is, Helix, because I did this. I used to do that when I started teaching. I did the
Hmm.
intention and energy and like feeling, like making sure that I'm already there, which I love. What you just talked about with sports guys and whatnot. The difference with this, Helix, is that you not only get there like it's already happened. You have to go far enough like in the future that it's happened and you're even past that. But then the key for this is you have to go backwards. So that comment that, or the example I used about getting, the house, it's not just you have the house, it's you have to go backwards and, okay, how did it all happen? I need to recall the journey, like recall the journey. I need to because you want the desire of that house to now be in the past. And when you lock it in as it's a past memory, that's when everything speeds up. It's so you have to not only be there and say I've won, because when I was studying for the bar, I was on the treadmill and thinking I'm getting that letter saying that we're pleased to inform you. It's more than that now. I did that, and
Yeah.
thank God it passed the first time. But now it would be like I would have to, in this scenario, I would have to, or I would, like go further. I would be practicing as a lawyer. Not the moment I get the letter. I am way 6 months, a year, 2 years into it that I'm practicing the love, the job that I love and what I'm doing. And then when you get there, you back it up and then you back it up all the way to getting that letter. But all of those things that you're thinking about to get there is creating the memories, and that the memories are creating the past. And when you lock that past in, then the magic happens. Everything shifts, and your universe says, "Oh my God, that already happened. We have to make sure we got to get it. We got to get them there." And that gap between the desire and the manifestation shrinks so quickly.
Yeah, that is real. When you say the magic happens, that is as real as it gets. It is magical, and everything that Steven says, it's really something that is worth putting into practice. I will say this, guys. Steven, when we come back, we do need to take another commercial break. But when we come back, I would love for you to guide people into a specific practice that that they can actually do. You told them already the how to, but what is a specific practice? And you've taught me, like what do I need to do first thing in the morning. So I want you to share that with our listeners. But first, we'll small break. So let's do that, and we'll be right back. And hello, everyone. Welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elex. I'm your host, Coach Elex, and with me, my amazing co-host,
Stephen the Medium.
Stephen the Medium, Stephen F. Masek, attorney Stephen F. Masek, also my husband. And today this is actually, I would call this an amazing conversation. What a great way to reframe this thing about New Year, New Me. This is about living it now, why your future already exists. And, and this conversation was born from a conversation that Stephen and I, have been having about why New Year's resolutions don't work and why we've been conditioned to think about January 1st as the day that we got to start new and we got to begin, our new plan, our new whatever, and how time after time that's proven to show that it just doesn't work. Now, John Parker on the live stream says, already having is a wonderful way to manifest. Thank you for explaining this. So why is already having, Stephen, the only way to manifest?
You know why, and John, thank you for that. You know why, Elix, honestly, it's because it does already exist.
Yes.
You know what? Let me just tell you quickly. When I started doing past life readings, and now I call them past life parallel readings. This is, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago. I was doing my normal past life reading, and I was reading this woman, and I was pulling in this particular past life, and she was a nurse. And in the current life, she's not a nurse. She did something like in IT, and I'm like, I can see you, and I'm just going on and loving the past life readings, and she's loving it, and I'm like, I keep seeing you as a nurse, and what I couldn't understand is why I kept seeing her looking in the past life like what she's looking like in Zoom, because it was a Zoom reading, and I could not figure that out. It's never happened to me. There was always a different feel, a different look, and I couldn't understand it. What I figured out was because it's a parallel life. So at the end of, when I closed it up and we talked about it, she said to me, growing up, that's exactly what she wanted to be. She always wanted to be a nurse, and for whatever reason, I don't have enough time to go into the specifics or details. She went into computer science, and that's what happened. But her desire was to be a nurse. I'm bringing that up because in parallel lives, every single decision we make, there's an opposite decision. So the day that woman made the decision to go into IT, another parallel life of her decided to go into nursing. So I was looking at a parallel life that she was actually doing what she always wanted to do as a nurse. So when I talk all about what I just talked about, teleporting into the future and then going far enough out and then backing it up to create these memories, why is it so powerful? Because it already exists. Every dream and every goal you have exists in a parallel life. The trick is just tapping into it, just like solidifying it again, just getting there. And that's why this works.
So, Stephen, what is a real practice that you can share with our audience that they can start doing, that it's effortless, that can help them step or tap into right here, right now, creating that future right here, right now?
And Elix, you and I just went through this weeks ago, months ago, whatever. Every morning, it has to be the morning before you get out of bed. So when we're waking up and we're going through a delta and alpha and all those stages that I, again, don't have enough time to go through, when you wake up in the morning, you have about 10 to 15 minutes of this window. And what this window is, it is front and center in your subconscious. Like you are in your subconscious. Whatever you think in those first 10, 15 minutes, as you're getting up, actually gets cemented into that subconscious. So what practice is, talk about desires or goals, and the best thing is when the first second you're in bed and you're waking up and you're getting ready to start your day, get out of bed, just lay there for a moment and just focus or think about a goal. a desire. Just start with one, whatever that is. Everything that we just talked about in this program, do that. Go all the way 6 months, a year, 2 years into that goal that you are so far. You're living that dream, and then just back up and just pick a couple of things that you needed to go through to get to where you are. But you have to go way far. You can't, if you want a house, you can't just go to, I just got the house. You have to go like 2 years into it, that this is your dream. You're living it. Like this is normal now. You live in the house, and then back up. But do it in the first 10, 15 minutes when your eyes open, because again, talk about magic. That is where the magic is. And what you're doing every morning is it's almost like you're planting seeds in that subconscious. And whatever seeds you plant, every day you keep doing it, every day you're going to be closer. Your subconscious is automatically going to say, yeah, let's support everything to get you to where you want to go with these goals or dreams.
And what if they start the process, and a week goes by and they don't see anything, and they their brain begins to tell them, oh, this is another thing, it's not working, just stop it. What would you say they could do instead of stopping? What could they do instead?
Well, when you're at that place, honestly, you have to think where champions come in is the people right then saying, I know this is working. I may not see it. It may not be overt in front of me. I know it's working. And I'm going to continue doing it. Those are the champions. Those are the people that actually ultimately get into those houses, or their loves, or their jobs, or their health, what they want and their desires. Those are the champions. Those are the people. Why do you think people have stuff that they love? Not everybody is rich and that's how they get it. Not at all. I mean, Elix and I live in on the Cape in our dream house. We're not millionaires, but we have practiced this. The two of us have practiced this. Maybe this is like another show that we can do on this.
But we envision being here before we were here.
Exactly. And then you add all of this teleporting into the future and making these memories and making them the past. Listen, you're golden. You'll get there, but you have to be persistent. You have to be patient, and for the most part, you've got to trust it's actually working. We are all energy, so it absolutely is working. In that parallel life, whatever you want is existing, and it's out there.
I love that. And I tell you, I began to practice that, the habit of, when I wake up, within 15 minutes, really, think about, my vision, see myself doing what I want to be doing, what I see myself like happening right here, right now. And I told Stephen at the beginning, I sort of like had to really be intentional in reminding myself. Now I'm at a point where as soon as I open my eyes, Stephen, boom, I go into really making that declaration for myself.
Yeah,
sometimes before I'm even out of bed. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, because somewhere in your soul, you are really understanding that it's working. And so, yes. And it's working, it starts changing you feel it in your whole body, and you starting getting this frequency of joy and happiness. Like, this is working. Yeah. And that's it's a habit too, right? And don't go get hard on yourself if, it's like halfway during the day and you're like, shoot, I forgot to do it. You just do it the next morning. But the key is the morning when you wake up, within the 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, I do it as soon as I open my eyes. I'm still in bed and I open my eyes and I go into that declaration that I'm starting to like really know by heart, because I'm speaking it every single day.
Yes.
So listen, at the end of the day, you can try this. If you think it's pie in the sky, then try something else. Knock yourself out. We're not here to tell you that what we're saying is absolute. This is maybe one of many things that you could do, but it's something that has been working with us, and we're excited and happy to share that with you. So, just as a reminder as we're closing, because we're really at the top of the hour, Stephen, I cannot believe how quickly this hour
I
went
know.
by.
I know.
But just I want to leave you with the following. Listen, you do not emphasize, you do not need a new year to begin again. It does not have to be. It does not have to be January 1st. So if you're finding yourself, oh shoot, I'm not on track with what I was hoping for. So what? The next day, begin. Any day is a new day. You do not need the perfect conditions to choose yourself. That is an illusion. That is just a story to keep us off the hook. And you do not need to wait for your future to arrive, because as Stephen explained beautifully today, your future, it's right here, right now. It's already exist. You just have to be willing to step into it. So I hope this show has been as impactful and transformative for you as it is for both of us. And Stephen, tell people where they can follow and find you.
Stephen the Medium, go on my website. You can see events I'm doing, courses I'm doing, and just check out what I'm doing.
And if you don't follow me, you should be following me at Coach Helix anywhere on social media. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for being part of this conversation. We'll be back next week with another amazing conversation. Stephen, is next week? I'm not remembering.
No.
Your show is in 2 weeks. Perfect.
Yes.
So we'll be back next week with an amazing conversation. I actually believe Donna Carlin may be joining us, and we haven't had Donna in quite a while. So we'll see you again next week. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.